everyone, and welcome to the NCSE for Startups End of Programme Showcase. I'm Diane Gilbert, and I'm Innovation Ecosystem Lead at Plexor. I support the NCSE for Startups programme through ecosystem engagement and events, and by engaging with the NCSE Investor Forum. I'm delighted to be joined by the most recent intake of businesses on the NCSE for Startups programme who had just come to the end of the programme. The innovative companies joining us today are tackling real-world problems in current NCSE challenge areas, including ransomware, securing the cloud, and protecting SMEs and citizens. And they are providing vital innovations into these areas to support the NCSE's mission to make the UK the safest place to live and work online. During the showcase, you will hear about what each company is doing within this space and what their plans are for the future. But firstly, let me give you a short summary of each of the 5 businesses. A-Cubed IT are a high-end deep tech consulting company known for its cross-domain experts and who are leading the charge in cross-domain solutions. Cybersar are all about simplifying risk management. They have automated the task of pen testing and checking for breaches, data loss, and checking certificate status. All this has a threat intelligence feed passed across it to create a risk analysis for an organisation and their supply chain. Memcrypt is an Edinburgh-based startup that has taken a revolutionary approach to solving the problem of ransomware. Their technology can stop a ransomware attack as it happens and recover any encrypted data from an endpoint, meaning a faster recovery from an attack and ensuring you pay no ransom. Cocoon secures the personal mobile device of high-value individuals against cyber attacks. Devised and operated by former GCHQ cybersecurity experts, Cocoon comprises a suite of uniquely architected technical products configured to provide proactive whole-of-device protection against cyber attacks. And lastly, Revenge.ai is building next-generation AI platform for understanding the contents and behaviour of software. We will hear directly from these companies very shortly. If you have any questions for them, please ask them in the live chat. We won't have time to hear the startups answer today, but we'll run another Q&A session after the event. So please keep an eye on the Cynam's social media channels for when this session will run. Ahead of introducing our first startup, I'm really pleased to hand over to Ollie Whitehouse, Chief Technology Officer at NCSE, who will say a few introductory words.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you all. So as been said, my name is Ollie Whitehouse. I'm the CTO here at the National Cybersecurity Centre, and it's a joy to be with you. I was asked to come along and talk about what we see as some of the bigger challenges facing UK PLC to set some context for this afternoon. And I thought I would have 3 areas that we'll dig into. So the first is hygiene. When we look at the UK PLC landscape, fundamentally, a lot of their challenges stem from the inability to take care of some of the basics of IT, and that ultimately leads to their undoing. So when we think about kind of overall technology hygiene, what we're talking about is asset management in the first instance. It may surprise a number of you that still a large number of the kind of medium to large size businesses do not understand accurately what comprises their IT estate. And it's very boring and very basic, but that is one of the large challenges that ultimately leads to systems becoming uncared for and then ultimately leading to a breach. The second then, as part of their hygiene, is observability. So again, it may surprise you that even some of our most mature organizations do not have a kind of the telemetry from their environment, so they maybe should have. So then not only are they not aware of what they've got, they're unaware of when something happens unexpected in that environment to detect and then ultimately respond to it. And then the third is arguably the amount of technical debt that they're carrying, and especially as kind of the UK economic cycle is where it is, as we're all seeing rampant high inflation and the like, there's an inclination to sweat IT assets for a little bit longer than one might before one conducts the next round of capital investment. And the result of which the number of end-of-life or out-of-support systems is increasing. And it's these kind of 3 hygiene factors that can kind of compound to create that kind of soft underbelly that ultimately are adversaries. And so as we start to think about the future, how we help organizations deal with IT hygiene and the cybersecurity implications of that in a way which is scalable, affordable, and the like, is going to be one of the key differentiators as we enter into the next phase. The second is complexity. I think we all recognize now that with the explosion of technology and innovation around it, systems are inherently a lot more complex than they ever have been. So understanding where data is, what it's traversing, what purpose that data serves, and whether or not it's held in a lawful and legal manner is becoming a massive, massive challenge. It's very rare now that we go into organizations and they are able to literally stitch together the end-to-end of a system and all the business processes which kind of overlay that system. And that inherent complexity allows our adversaries to have success when they run their operations, because they will often understand a system better than the people that have built it over the course of a number of years or decades. And how we understand complex systems is what will again allow us to be able to create resilient ones. I think what we recognise also is that with the explosion in technology more generally, there's a competitive edge which could be gained from its adoption, and we're starting to see that with large language models and other examples of artificial intelligence. And so there's organisations are encouraged to take risk in order to gain that competitive advantage, but then that comes with some security risk. So how we allow companies to benefit from the latest and greatest technology, but in a way which is safe and secure, is yet to be answered in a way which is universal rather than the artisanal. And then the last last challenge area I'll pick on is regulation and legislation. The amount of regulation and legislation which has been introduced both in the UK and other markets has become material now, and that's because of free markets are effectively deemed to have failed in some form or other. And so the weight of compliance against various bits of regulation and legislation is becoming material, then demonstrating that the controls in place are effective to achieve what the intent is rather than just the letter. All of these things are adding a cost burden to these organizations in the private sector. And again, we've heard of some of the examples, and you'll hear examples later of companies that are trying to automate some of that for that very reason. So it's these three pressures really, or these three challenges, I should say, that really are posing some of the biggest problems. And so just to close them out, hygiene. So how, knowing what they've got, is it observed? Do we know what's happening on it, and the like? Then the second is, how do we adopt technology at pace in a way which is safe and secure? And then the third is, how do we address kind of ever increasing burden of legislation and regulation? And if we can if we can address some of these, we can actually make cybersecurity, which is both affordable, but also materially delivers on what we want it to do, which is not to create reams of paper in terms of compliance, but actually drags up the level of real world resilience against real world threats. So with that, I thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentations this afternoon, and I'll pass back to Diane to keep you going. So thanks very much, Diane.
Thanks so much, Ollie. So it's time now to hear directly from our first company. So I'd like to hand over to
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Thomas from Cubed, and this is Amit Gupta, the Chief Exec of the organisation. We've been working on the startup programme over the last 12 weeks, in particular focusing on a challenge area for NCSC, which is around the protection of large volumes of data. So we're going to talk to you about that, and we're also going to share some highlights of participating in the programme, and also some advice to organisations who are considering participating. So just setting the scene initially, what's the challenge? What's the problem space we're operating in? HM government collects large volumes of data, which on a daily basis is collected in the official space, in the low trust domain. What challenge does that give then to senior responsible officers who are managing the delivery of those projects? Largely, they face the challenge of balancing the business performance with the risk that they're carrying from a data loss perception. So we've been looking at this particular problem, and Amit's going to talk to you in terms of how we've got about developing what we refer to as the cross-domain hybrid application framework.
So Steve, as you said, I think the key challenge which Steve mentioned is about aggregated data. And aggregation is a key word to mention. Aggregate data on the low side, which becomes interest to the our friends on the other side of the world.
Yeah, so hostile state actors, commonly known as. So, talk to us about the actual CDHA.
So CDHA, or it stands for the Cross-Domain Hybrid Application Framework. We have been working with NCSC since the last 3.5 years, and what we've done, we build a design pattern, a product which will allow HMG to build applications which will span across security or trust boundaries. You'll be able to secure the data on the low side, and not only you'll be able to secure working data on the low side. So it works on a principle: data is encrypted as soon as it leaves the browser session. But also, when aggregation happens, the aggregated data will be stored onto the higher trust or higher security boundaries in an air-gapped system. So that was the one problem we solved: is how do you work securely on the low side, and how do you move the data from the low side to the high side. We also gradually worked on a design pattern that how do you release part of that data, which basically the data is actually official or single record, or collection is where the risk becomes. How do you release that single record or part of that single record from high tier to lower tier devices, which allows you to have high performance internal case workers on the low side.
Okay, and that data passes across a high assurance gateway?
Correct. So it uses currently a particular gateway right now, but that high assurance gateway is, it can be any gateway technology. The one we're using it in this example, can't name the product itself here, but that product allows you to have decryptions with hardware itself.
Okay, that's really helpful. That. So, talk to me about the potential applications. Where could this cross-domain hybrid application framework be used?
So there are a large number of use cases and very, very big programs in government where data is collected at the lower tier, but data should have kept on the high tier. Unfortunately, due to the channel we are running on, I will not be able to mention the program names itself, but there are a large number of programs wherever the data aggregation should be kept onto the higher tier, should be secured more than it should be. The CDHA can solve those problems.
And I think it's fair to say that our focus has been on HMG in terms of use cases, but as part of the participation in the program, we're changing our mindset on that.
Yeah, so I think I'll go even further. So when we came to the program, in fact, all our materials and everything talked about HMG and HMG as an example. But recently, having a multiple conversations, that's one of the benefits we had, is we now start looking at outside the HMG. And one of the discussion we had with Ollie some point today is we probably going to look at that how we convert this into a service-based architecture as well for private sector to make it easily implementable.
Okay, that's really good. So some just summing up and closing remarks really in terms of CDHA, would it be fair to say that it reduces the risk of bulk data theft?
So it reduces the risk of anything which is aggregation and can actually cause a national security, reputation damage, or commercial damage. CDHA can solve that problem. How do you design? So eCubed is a high-end cross-domain consulting company, and using the CDHA, we can design the applications which will work or which will remove the security threats.
And in terms of the offer from eCubed?
So we again, as I said, we are a high-end cross-domain security company, and the idea is that we will start building applications for you.
Okay. And from our point of view, what would you say the next steps are as an organisation?
So I think next steps for eCubed point of view is we got a large roadmap, and we in fact changed a bit of changes today in the roadmap itself. Work on that roadmap, look at the PQC, which is post-quantum cryptography on top of this, and work with companies like Deloitte or continue working with the existing potential customers to implement our first use case using CDHA to take the TRL level to the 8 or 9.
What would you say the benefit of working with a collaborator like Deloitte would be?
So I think Deloitte, so we are a techie company and we are a tech-based company. Companies like Deloitte will have bandwidth and scaling up, which can run the programs, end-to-end programs.
Okay, and just talk to me and share with our audience some highlights from the participation over the last 12 weeks.
I think this program has been one of the best things happened to eCubed. I believe personally, we have learned a lot what goes beyond technology. Even technology itself, we have learned a lot, but beyond technology, we have learned a lot. We have changed our offering. Previous, our offering was all technical, but now we talked about business benefits, how we change it. And also, just meeting up with a lot of people, cohorts. I think it's been quite useful for AQ.
What would be your one piece of advice?
One piece of advice for any company who's listening to this: if you're going to join the program, please make sure you join the program and work on site all the time, because having those conversations, corridor conversations with the right people is probably one of the key benefits we had.
And I would absolutely endorse that. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stephen and Amit. I'll now hand over to our next presenter, Cybersar.
Hi there, I'm Charles.
And I'm Wayne.
And we're together at Cybersar, and we're all about simplifying risk management. We do three main things. Firstly, we do the find and fix, and we provide details of how to fix those things. What we've done is we've automated the process of doing that, because we believe it's really important to try and free up as many people to do the fix. What we also do is we assess the vulnerabilities that we find with a threat intelligence feed, and then present them back in a standardized risk framework. What we're doing is trying to provide an action-based approach that allows people to manage the thousands of vulnerabilities and issues that they find. We also scale across both first and third parties, allowing the scale of the supply chain, whether it's fixed, physical, software, or shadow IT, to be monitored. Ours is a fast evolving world, a world of pandemics, major geopolitical conflicts. All organizations face a significant challenge in managing risks in new ways that manage the speed and nature of the risk. 1 in 10 companies actually know the security of their supply chain. It's a pretty worrying state because of the importance that everyone has in whatever business they are of their suppliers. One of the big threats that we see is that self-attestation, which is often used as one of the ways of managing supply chain risk, we don't believe is enough to deliver cyber resilience. The third-party assessments are really important, but constant monitoring is going to be required to meet the changing vulnerabilities and the new threat landscape. There is too much cyber data and tooling. On average, each enterprise has 76 cyber tools, and we know that the automated tools turn out thousands and even millions of issues. But what we've done is we assess those issues and present them back in a common framework. As I've said, software supply chain and the physical supply chain is the new target area. We've seen in the last week or so how Okta, a key software supplier for so many people, was breached. And the really interesting thing is that people on the breach actually took the details of the email addresses of the customer support agents. So everyone should be expecting more phishing attacks as a result of that. More recently in the UK, at a sort of a different level, a fencing supplier was breached. A fencing supplier to the MOD was breached. And we know now that potentially the physical security of MOD sites could be breached. This is a tiny supplier. One of the big things that people tend to do is they tend to focus on the tier 1 suppliers, because that's the only way that they can manage their risk. It's critical that each level of the supply chain is constantly monitored and evaluated for risk. So our platform is unique in a number of ways. What we do is we bring inside out and outside in approaches together. We bring together empirical quantifiable data and also the qualitative evidence. And it scales across both first and third party supply chains, which means that we can enable cyber risk benchmarking at scale and also multi-supply chain management. That's what we do. But now over to Wayne about what we've been doing on the programme.
Thank you, Charles. Our challenge area is in democratising cyber and driving inclusivity through industry to SMBs, SMEs, and even the public. Through our NCSC for Startups journey, we learned how best to support the communities in our challenge area, focusing on supply chain, cyber risk management, and bringing together first-party and third-party risk intelligence. Our reasons for embarking on the NCSC for Startups programme is threefold. Firstly, to ensure our value proposition messaging was meaningful to our customers in the marketplace. Secondly, to join the NCSC for Startups ecosystem, which is extremely valuable to us. And thirdly, to validate ourselves, our solution, our go-to-market, and our platform against the high benchmark set by the NCSC. At this point, I'd just like to thank the people who encouraged us to join the programme, including Daljinder Mehta at DCIT, Professor Prashant Pillai and Hugo Russell at the University of Wolverhampton and Cyber Quarter, Vanessa Isles and Michelle Owen at the West Midlands Cyber Resilience Centre, and Steve Kine and Richard Bate at Goldilocks. What to expect and the advice we'd give you would include: be prepared to engage. Many people have said you only get out of the programme what you put in, and this is definitely true. Be open to new ideas, to be challenged, to rewrite your value proposition from the ground up if need be, and be ready to push yourselves. 3 days a week on site, plus the work you're given, plus running your startup is a serious undertaking.
Thank you, Wayne. So what's next for Cybersar? Well, the things we're going to be doing is we're going to keep on growing our customer base in the West Midlands, both using our resellers and channel partners, as well as our going direct to customers across the manufacturing, finance, and defence and government areas. What we're looking to do more of is we want to extend our engagements across the different supply chains. And finally, in 2024, we'll be going out and doing our fundraise. The thing that drives us are our values. Our values are being bold, be ambitious, and have fun. We've applied these to the programme that we've been on over the last 12 weeks, and we believe that we've gained a huge amount from that. And we'll continue to use those values and the lessons we've learned on the programme to grow our business. We apply to this programme, and we'll urge everyone to think about applying for this programme if they really are serious about trying to embrace the challenge to make the UK a more secure place. That's our aim, and we hope everyone else who's watching this, who's interested in building their business, will join the programme and see how they can make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne and Charles. The next company we'll hear from is Memcrypt.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pete Jaco. I'm the CEO from Memcrypt. We're a spin out of Edinburgh Napier University, and we launched the company in April 2021. We've largely been in stealth mode until then, and actually getting on the NCSC for Startups program has really been a great leaping point from us, from doing really a university spin out, very early stage, pre-revenue, taking our technology to market, and really meeting a lot of people, getting a lot of great feedback. But before we get into any of the questions around that, let's have a little look at what we actually do. So, our challenge area is ransomware. It's a rising trend. In fact, September this year was the largest month of ransomware attacks ever. You can see some of the statistics for this. There's literally hundreds of reports across the internet about what an overwhelming challenge this is. And we're actually building technology not just to stop ransomware attacks, but actually attack the attacker. And what do I mean by that? We're taking a very new approach to the threat. If people that understand how ransomware works, it will get on their machine, it will encrypt the endpoint devices or the computers on your network. Also, the threat has evolved over time. It's now moved into a data exfiltration piece where people will use the endpoint devices to get onto your network and actually find data and encrypt data across your network. We're taking a holistically different approach to this. Rather than fixing the problem after the attack, and when they've broken onto the network, we're actually going to stop people from breaking onto the network in the first place. So we attack the attacker. So how does this work? This works by actually being having an endpoint agent, and we spot any unauthorized encryption taking place on that. We take a memory dump of any unauthorized encryption activity from which we can extract likely encryption keys and salts, and therefore decrypt any information that's been encrypted on the endpoint. We can also set the machine to actually stop the attack. So we can stop the attack, we can recover files, we can minimize, which of course minimizes any disruption to your network. And of course, you pay no ransom. So this is a very, very different approach to other providers out there. But let's answer some of the questions about why we're on the program, should you come on the program, and what our takeaways are. So let's move on to that. Why did we join the program? Well, as I mentioned, we were really coming out of stealth mode. We wanted to build our profile. We want to extend the networks that we have from previous activities in the cybersecurity space. And we also wanted some validation on our approach and our technology. And we've really achieved a lot of that. We've had access to some of the world-class and NCSC experts in the field. We've met a lot of experts across industry. We've had a lot of feedback, both in terms of our approach, our go-to-market strategy. Even this afternoon, we've had some great meetings, both with investors and also very senior members of the NCSC who have given their valuable time to give feedback to us. We've also worked very closely with the cohort companies. We've had 5 companies on our cohort, all of them working in different technology areas, all of them very, very jovial and supportive, and it's really been a fun environment here in the office in Cheltenham and in Manchester and in London, where we've all had different offsites. And of course, looking for paid pilots as well. You know, our takeaways from the program, it's really achieved everything we set out to do. We've met a wide range of investors, contacts, industry, paid pilots and prospective customers as well, and also some potential collaboration from some of the cohort members. And we so the validation of our technology has really taken place. We've shown our demonstrator to a lot of people and had a lot of very useful feedback. So any advice to any future companies think of joining? It's simple. Do it. This is an absolutely leading opportunity for early stage UK startups in the cybersecurity space to get involved with a program like this, gain the profile, get the feedback, and also make the relationships and the networking that is so important in terms of the sort of feedback you need to build your brand, build your business, and get things going. So yes, there are issues coming to Cheltenham. It's been wonderful, actually. You do have to work it into your schedule. There is a stipend available to help offset some of the costs. And you do have to be there in person. That's one thing, because we're up in Edinburgh and it's a bit of a hike, but it really was worth it to make the diaries work and get down to Cheltenham and build out those in-person networks. So that's important. Also, I'd say come with a plan. What do you want to get out of the program yourself? And think about that amongst you and your co-founders, and make sure that you stick to that plan. And don't be afraid to ask. I think that's we've asked questions, we've asked support, and we've been given everything that we've asked for. And finally, the future. For us, it really is about paid pilots. I keep repeating that, but we're in discussions now about some additional ones. Very pleased to announce, we can't say who, but we did install our first pilot in London with one of the large financial services firms during this program. So don't think about the business, about the business while you're here as well. Think about your business, but also think about the great opportunity that you have to partake in a world-leading cyber innovation startup program. And just be lucky and feel fortunate that you're on the program. And as other members have said, contribute as much as you can, because you'll get it back in spades. And finally, a fun fact. Well, this is really fun fact. I'm sitting here with my co-founder, Peter McLaren from Australia. I'm sitting here with our CTO, Kevin Maguire from Edinburgh in Scotland. I'm a Canadian. Peter is a South African who lives in Australia. And in fact, the fun fact is this is the first time all three of us have ever been together in the room. So that's our fun fact. This is Memcrypt. I'm Pete Jaco. Remember, if you want a paid pilot, please contact me. Thanks again.
Thanks so much, Pete. Our next presentation is from Cocoon.
Good afternoon, we are Cocoon. I am Lucy Burnford, the CEO. Morton Peachy is our CISO, and Luke Smith is our CTO, along with Harry Goff, who's not here today, who is our COO.
So at Cocoon, we've developed a unique cybersecurity protection service to protect the personal mobile devices of high value and high risk individuals. Our technical leadership team has each spent about a decade working in NCSE prior to starting Cocoon, working on some of the most technically challenging problems, especially around the mobile device space as well.
So if you are fortunate enough to have reached a level of personal or professional success, unfortunately, you're also very likely to be a target of sophisticated cybercrime. So criminals focus on those with the most to lose and the means to pay. So our clients fall into three categories. Firstly, high profile people, so publicly recognizable figures who are themselves a brand, and therefore anything that may compromise that brand reputationally is high risk to them. Secondly, high net worth individuals, so these people may not be publicly recognizable, but they are, through their industry, high profile, and through their wealth, they live a lifestyle that means that they are likely to be targeted. And finally, individuals who travel to high threat locations. So for those particular individuals, we have a separate Cocoon service that's suitable for high threat deployments. So what we've developed with Cocoon is highly technical, and as a technical solution, we started out on this program by presenting it in a very technical way. So complex diagrams, technical architecture, trying to convey how Cocoon works. But the feedback that we've had as part of this program was really that we should try and present the benefit and try and present that in a non-technical way, because even to the technical people, actually the solution that we provide is much more compelling when explained in a non-technical way. So that was a big challenge for us to overcome, because we were used to talking about it from a technical standpoint. So for example, we started out talking about an MDM, DNS, VPN, email filtering, lots of kind of technical jargon. And we have evolved that into talking specifically about the benefits. So now instead, we talk about giving you constant device security, wrapped around by a cyber concierge that's on hand whenever you need it. And that provides you with secure web browsing, complete data privacy, and full email protection and security. So it's much easier for us to convey that as a benefit to our potential clients and partners.
Yeah, so we've really benefited from the NCSE for Startups program. It's given us the time and the space to kind of step back from working within the business and really look at working on the business and improving, more the business side of things.
We've had access to a huge range of workshops, kind of creative, strategic, technical, financial. A highlight for me was the storytelling workshop hosted by Stu from Amplify. It really made us kind of introspective and focus, to my point earlier about our challenge, on how we convey the technical in a non-technical, engaging sort of storytelling way.
Yeah, similarly, I really enjoyed the value proposition workshops run by Deborah. Really good to sort of, again, take a step back and look at the benefits that our solution provides to our clients, and how we convey those to the clients so that they get it quicker.
The program has also given us a great opportunity to have access to some technical experts across the NCSE and also Deloitte, which has been really useful.
Yeah, and we've also been able to get more involved with the Cheltenham cybersecurity ecosystem as well. So Cynam have been great at getting us along to some of their events. We've been able to do some presentations in some spaces around here, and we've also been able to do some networking, and we've also been able to access some of the cyber expos in London whilst we've been on the program as well.
Yeah, so such a huge and broad range of benefits to us, including getting reviews from our peers, so being able to speak to the other businesses involved, get technical input both from the NCSE and, as Morton mentioned, from Deloitte. And a nice thing for us is actually the opportunity to reach some prospective clients through partners and others involved in the programme. That's a really nice benefit that we weren't necessarily expecting. So these guys have all been on the other side, having come from the NCSC previously. So what's it been like for you? Is it what you expected it to be, or is it different?
I think it was probably a little bit apprehensive coming into the programme, just knowing how much of a time commitment it was. But it's been a great opportunity. We've learned so much, and I think any business that's in a similar position to ours should really consider trying to get on the programme in the future.
Yeah, I think in our previous position, we were providing some of the technical advice to companies that came through the scheme. I guess I was quite narrow-minded looking at it, and kind of assumed that most of the content would be technically focused. Whereas actually the inverse is true. So the majority of the content on this program has been more commercial focused, which is great for me because I have relatively little experience on the commercial side compared to the technical side before joining. So yeah.
And we've all benefited, like as a business, we've benefited in multiple ways individually as well. But I think one of the things that was a nice surprise was the benefit of working with the other businesses. So there's been a really great sort of spirit of collaboration and support from the other businesses that are on the programme at the moment. So thank you very much to the NCSC, Deloitte and Plexel in particular, all of the partners involved. It's been great for us as a business, and we're really looking forward to implementing all the learnings that we've had from the scheme in the new year. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks so much, Cocoon team. And our final presentation is from Revenge.ai.
Thanks, Diane. Yes, welcome everyone. My name is Dr. James Patrick-Evans, and I'm the CEO and founder of Revenge.ai. Revenge.ai's mission is to build artificial intelligence to help security engineers understand the contents of software by using our AI to automatically label key components and reduce the time for binary analysis. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret about the EDR and antivirus industries. And that secret is that when attackers gain access and privilege into your organization's network, it is very easy for them to bypass any malware detection or EDR service. You see, modern attackers do not reuse malware that has already been deployed for which modern AVs already have signatures against. Instead, they purchase off-the-shelf malware and off-the-shelf FUD cryptors from the darknet. And in this case, FUD is not fear, uncertainty, or doubt, but fully undetectable by all antivirus vendors. These malware authors, they rebuild, they repack, and they modify that malware to create a unique, never-before-seen sample. And they create a new version of the same malware that is difficult to identify away from known goodware. And the reason why this is a problem is that identifying what software is doing, what it's not doing, or what it may do in the future is extremely difficult. So when creating programs, we often have access to the source code, as shown here on the left. And it's very easy to go from that source code to an executable image just by compiling the software. However, depending on the environment used, the resultant executable image completely changes between versions and produces an indistinguishable binary file. A bit like how all the pixels in an image will change when taking the picture of a same object from a different frame of reference. The problem is that it's very difficult if you start with the binary code to get back to the source code. And this process is called software reverse engineering, and it requires highly experienced technical analysts to explore and rip apart the binary code and understand the intricate patterns of machine code. Revenge.ai's solution to this problem is to build AI that helps security engineers understand the contents of software. Revenge.ai presents an AI binary analysis platform that provides 3 services. The first is our AI reverse engineering and malware analysis platform, bringing AI capabilities to enhance the performance of your malware analysts and reverse engineers by providing suggestions and automatically labeling components of the binary code. We currently have integrations into common reverse engineering tools such as IDA Pro and Ghidra, with more on the way. The second is our AI threat hunting and binary intelligence platform, which enhances SOC analyst capabilities with our AI to detect commonalities between different malware and versions and software versions. Our platform currently integrates into Splunk and performs a deep binary scan to quickly detect variants of malware. Thirdly is our AI vulnerability detection and software supply chain security platform, which uses our AI to detect vulnerabilities embedded inside software at the binary level. Using our platform, security analysts are able to generate a software bill of materials from any software used in an organization's software supply chain without having access to the source code. This is available as an agent-based solution to automatically scan your endpoints, or we can integrate into your CI/CD pipeline to verify that nothing malicious has been bundled into your build. Revenge.ai offers the world's first AI for binary analysis platform that brings 3 key advantages. The first is that we can massively reduce the time needed for incident response or forensics by speeding up the time taken for binary analysis. Our AI enhances the capabilities of your malware analysts, turning junior analysts into seasoned professionals and increasing the throughput of already experienced experts. The second is that we can reduce false positives in your SIMs or SOARs by providing a deep AI analysis of potentially malicious files. This frees up your time for your SOC analysts, allowing them to focus on other priority tasks, saving your business both time and money. Thirdly, we can detect hidden vulnerabilities embedded inside your software supply chain that other vendors miss. Our binary-only solution does not require access to the source code and focuses on what parts of the software is actually present rather than promoting irrelevant alerts. So Revenge.ai has been enrolled on both the IoT and ransomware challenges with NCSC for startups over the past 12 weeks. Personally, it's been a fantastic journey so far, and we've learned a lot along the way. I think the 4 key benefits that the program has given us has been in personal development, networking, business support, and technical assistance. So the program has given us training in public speaking, storytelling, communications, and really defining our core business value proposition. We've also received technical assistance from NCSC to ensure that our product design meets a core set of key security requirements and to ensure that we keep our customers' data safe. Lastly, we've been brought into the UK and Cheltenham cyber community and joined a fantastic network of other cybersecurity startups and scale-ups. A big thank you to all of the mentors involved in the program, and thank you to Deloitte for your close collaboration with Plexel and the NCSC. Our ask today is that we want to engage with co-development partners in commercial pilots to assist their organizations with our AI. We're looking to bring AI assistance to organizations who are performing either incident response, forensics, malware analysis, threat hunting, vulnerability research, or reverse engineering. If you're interested, please reach out to me via my details on the screen. Be sure to view our GitHub, community forums, and Vimeo pages for tech demonstrations of each of our integrations. You can also sign up for a free trial at www.revenge.ai. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, James. And a huge thanks to all our startups, not only for presenting today, but for also being such great programme members. And thank you also to our audience for joining us today. As mentioned previously, please keep an eye on Cynam's social channels for our follow-up Q&A session. If you want to get in contact with startups directly, there will be some links that will follow shortly on screen. I hope everyone enjoyed today's showcase. Have a great afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you soon.